there is another very, very important area that has traditionally helped to discharge stress and alleviate the impact of trauma that is generated by the work environment. And this is the area of spiritual development. Spiritual development is not a matter of doing yoga in the morning and in the evening. Spiritual development is not a matter of going to the temple or going to the church or going to the mosque or whatever it may be. Spiritual development is something that you do with yourself, within yourself. It is something that you do that makes your mind grow, expand, so that as you get older, you begin to understand life more deeply and see the world in all its complexity and understand that you are not only a very small organism on a very small planet in a very small solar system, in a very small galaxy, but that you're also a part of the entire cosmos that has become these galaxies and these stars and these solar systems and organisms like you. And knowing this, becoming aware of this, growing into this awareness helps you to deal with stress. And this process that we have engineered, that we have formulated, and that we are beginning to initiate by bringing it into engagement with the internal processes of corporate entities. This process includes spiritual development as one of its major components. We have at the one end ergonomics, or what we could call the hard part of it. And then we have this whole enculturalization, which we call the soft part of it. And then we have spiritual development, which we could actually call the metaphysical or ontological part of it. And we do believe that the spiritual aspect or the spiritual component is very important, because as we go forward, we as people who work in the corporate sector, who keep the corporate sector going, who believe that the corporate sector is a vital component that is required for the survival of the human species and the development of our civilization, we are going to have to answer questions and justify our vision for the corporate sector. Because as you all know, the corporate sector consumes a large amount of very scarce resources. And you all know that the corporate sector manufactures various implements that cause immense damage to our environment. And you know that we ourselves, as corporate entities, release large amounts of polluting substances into the environment. And we are going to be called to account for this. And we had better get our act together. And this process, the spiritual part of this process, is geared to prepare you, to give you the conceptual framework that you require to be able to tell people why it is important that the corporate sector continue to be developed. It will help you to develop a perceptual paradigm that will enable you to show people this is the role that the corporate sector can play, and this is the role that you must help us to play if we are going to be able to facilitate the continued evolution of the human species and the continued development of our civilization. And if we are going to spread as we have spread over the face of the earth, out into space as well. So this process that we are formulating, this process that we have formulated, this process that we have engineered, this process that we are now initiating by engaging the internal processes of the corporate sector, these processes are geared to prepare you for the future. As I said before, we at the Center for Psychodynamic Equilibrium have been on the cutting edge of human resource development over the last 15 years. We have not been at the cutting edge of human resource management. That is not our area of expertise. We have been at the cutting edge of human resource development over the last 15 years. And that is why we are in a position today to tell you that there is an issue here that has to be addressed, and that it is going to be very vital that the issue of human resource maintenance is not just looked at, but that it is engaged without delay. Your human resources are already under immense stress and strain. It is up to you to respond, and to respond fast. And those of you who make that decision to go forward will not regret it, because it will place you at the cutting edge of human resource development along with us. And believe me, we intend to be out there at the cutting edge at least for the next 10 or 15 years. And all those of you who engage this process of human resource maintenance that we are talking about, which we are telling you is going to position you to face the future, will be out there with us, right at the cutting edge for the next 10 or 15 years. So thank you for your time. I hope there was something of benefit in what I told you. Goodbye till we meet again.